The Her Sports Show, live every Wednesday on YouTube and every podcast app.
Hello and welcome to the Her Sports Show, our weekly series bringing you the latest news and feature interviews from the world of women's sports. In this week's episode, we talk to David Gillick about the European Week of Sport and an amazing summer of Irish athletics. In sports news this week, the Wexford Youths take the lead in the SSE Airtricity Women's National League. Shelbourne, Peamount United and Athlone Town are not far behind. In the Energia All-Ireland League, Ballincollig got their second heavy defeat against Old Belvedere. Enya Breen made her Blackrock debut in the second half against Cook, where they were led to victory by Michelle Claffey in a 5th-minute try. The Suttonians' undefeated start of the season almost came to an end, but luckily they drew enough effort to end with a draw against the Galwegians. The Rowing World Championships kicked off yesterday with Team Ireland out in full force. Ireland has 7 women's crews in action and are off to a good start. Katie O'Brien is through to the A final in her single, and she will race with her doubles partner Steve McGowan tomorrow in the heats. Ireland have 3 crews who won their heats and are straight through to the AB semi-finals. Margaret Cremen and Aoife Casey are back together again in the lightweight double. In the heavyweight double, it's great to see Zoe Hyde and Sunita Pushpuri in good form with their win, having recently pulled out of the European Championships due to illness. They're off to a good start at the World Championships. The Olympic bronze medal winning crew of Fiona Murtagh, Emily Hegarty, Emer Lamb and Afra Keogh will have high hopes for their World Championship ambitions. Tara Hanlon and Natalie Long were second in their heat and are through to the AB semi-finals as well. Alison Burgeon was third in her repechage and is into the CD final, and it was a close race for Lydia Heafy in the lightweight sculls heat as she finished second. She will compete tomorrow in the repechage, trying to book her place in the AB semi-finals. Racing will kick off tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. as Lydia is in the lightweight singles repechage and Katie O'Brien and Steve McGowan are in action in the mixed double. This week marks the return of the KPMG Women's Irish Open at Dromoland Castle in Clare. This will be the first time the Irish Open will feature on the Ladies European Tour since 2012. Her Sport will be down there on site, so be sure to visit us in between, catching the likes of Leona Maguire, Lynn Grant and Katrina Matthew in action on the course. European Week of Sport runs from the 23rd to the 30th of September and is encouraging people, young and old, to get active and stay active by getting involved in different sporting activities. For more information, find an event near you, go to sportireland.ie/European Week of Sport.
David, it's great to have you. I know you're involved as an ambassador for European Week of Sport, so that's going to be running from the 23rd to the 30th of September. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the European Week of Sport has been running over the last couple of years. I was involved last year and it's great to be involved this year. And basically it's just a call to action for people to get out and be active. I think sometimes when you look at sport, you can get easy kind of pulled into the performance side of it, and it's about winning and medals and stuff like that. But the whole kind of purpose of this week is just to showcase the variety of sports that are taking place all over the country on a regular basis, but also, you know, kind of in local communities and obviously Sport Ireland are really kind of pushing this in terms of the Institute of Sport out in Abbottstown and Sport Campus Ireland and what is going to take place over the course of that week. They have the Be Active Festival taking place on Saturday the 24th. And we managed to get out there last year with the kids as well. And it was fantastic because, you know, you forget about the variety of sports that are potentially on your doorstep. You know, sometimes we get dragged into the big sports, but there's so many smaller sports, minority sports, Olympic sports that maybe don't get the coverage, but yet they're taking place on your doorstep. And the kind of whole purpose of this is just to highlight the variety and try and get people get involved in the various sports. So if you let's say you pick up a Gaelic ball and you don't like it, well, you know what, there could be something else taking place in your local community. So it's just kind of a call to action to get people out and active, all ages, all different levels, and just participate. And you know, that's what it's about, particularly going into, say, the winter, because it's often a time where off the back of the summer that, you know, maybe we don't, or we're not as active as we'd like to be. So again, it's that kind of time of the year just to give it a push and try and get people involved.
Yeah, no, definitely what you mentioned there about, you know, some of the more popular sports, like they certainly aren't for everybody. Not everybody likes playing football. Not everyone likes rugby. Not everyone likes running. Where can they find out about the different sports to pick up and get involved in? And it's never too late to start, right?
No, God, absolutely. Like, you know, even new sports, like you're never too old to take up something new and something fresh. And I think that's the kind of empowerment side of sport. You feel good about yourself mentally and physically. So, you know, if you go on to Sport Ireland, all the information is up there, and even kind of your local community and your local council as well. So, you know, whether it's Fingal, whether it's DLR, you know, or any county council, they have events taking place locally as well. So, like I said, it could be something very much on your doorstep. Sports Campus Ireland as well. You can check out that that website there, they have a full list of what's taking place, and also the Be Active website as well. So, you know, over that course of the week, the 23rd to the 30th, there's a lot of events taking place in Sports Campus Ireland, but also all around the country, and it's all up there on that website as well.
Lots of places to get the information anyway. In terms of the elite aspect, obviously you've been involved from that perspective yourself. I know you have a couple of kids now as well, so it's a different lifestyle. A lot of people talk to us about, you know, that being a parent, and also, you know, work-life balance and trying to manage sport around that. And I think women in particular can find it quite hard to get back into it. And what would your advice be around managing that?
Yeah, look, you know, it's something that myself, my wife Charlotte, we've 3 kids now, so the whole kind of lifestyle has changed. You know, we're back to this time of year, back into school and creche, and you know, everything that comes with that. All the local clubs have kind of resumed their training, so it's busy. And, you know, we do kind of spend our weekends kind of running around the kids, from gymnastics to dancing to ballet to GA to all this sort of stuff. And it's busy. And, you know, the hard part sometimes is that you forget about yourself and all of this. And I think both myself and my wife, Charlotte, we come from athletic backgrounds. That's how we met. We met through sport. And, you know, it's one thing for me to say it's easy to get back in. I think Charlotte has found it quite difficult to kind of just get the time, you know, to kind of, like it's kind of everything that goes on with kind of raising kids and work and all, and everything that comes with that sometimes it's just that time that she's kind of found difficult. So look, you know, the way we kind of approach it is I try and be as supportive as I can and make sure that, like, I give her the time to get out. And it's not just the time to get out and be active, it's almost time for herself as well, you know, because you know, we have a busy house, and like the kids, as much as we love them, they can wreck your head at times as well. So it's important that you have that time away from all that. And, you know, what we try and do is just have a bit of a structure around our week. You know, okay, what day am I going for my run, and what day is she going for a run in her class, and fit that in as a non-negotiable. And I think if you can kind of have that structure, and we both know what each person's doing, that can also kind of help, you know, and keep it sustainable. But, you know, she's been open and honest, you know, kind of, she's found it hard to get back into exercise, even though she ran for a large chunk of her life. And, you know, everything from, you know, the tiredness to almost feeling an element of guilt that she's not with the kids, you know. And that's something that kind of you just try and help and support and kind of make it social. So she's not doing everything by herself. And if she takes up classes and things like that. And that's something that she's kind of found very enjoyable from that social aspect as well. And I think one aspect that she's kind of spoken openly about is that, you know, like been out of work and taking maternity leave, and then it's all about the kids. And at times she kind of felt like, is that all I talk about is the kids? And she might meet people who are talking about their careers and things like that. And she's kind of like, well, like right now I'm not working. So, you know, what do I have to add to a conversation? And I think she's found that a little bit difficult. And I think getting involved with classes, you know, when she's not kind of exercising all by herself, she's in a class, she's kind of found that there's other people that are going through the similar stuff. And I think that's one beauty of sport that I think is sometimes overlooked, is the social impact and the social well-being aspect of participating in sport and being active. You know, yes, the physical and the mental, but sometimes it's finding and chatting to people that are going through very similar things as yourself. And I think she's found that very comforting as well.
Well, yeah, no, thanks a million for sharing all that with us, because I think it will really resonate with a lot of people. And, you know, we talk to different people that, you know, are going through some of those things, and a lot of women can kind of find it tough to get back into sport or to get back into exercise, because they do feel that guilt and really experience that. You know, people that are, if they're women that are carrying children, like there's obviously kind of the physical healing and stuff that has to happen, and it's then kind of getting back into it while also managing having kids too. How important is that communication, I suppose, at home, so that you can support her? And obviously sport is really important for mental health, and giving someone an hour, if it's an hour a week, just to get out and do their own thing and have that space. Yeah,
look, like I've been active my whole entire life, and, you know, I didn't take any kind of time out. You know, Charlotte obviously was carrying the kids and had to go through that kind of pregnancy and even the aftermath of pregnancy. So, you know, from my perspective, it's like, you know, it's very different. Like I didn't have that big break. So I think for her, it's kind of the routine and getting started all over again. And, you know, at home, it's like, I'd be saying, oh, but like, why can't you do that? And she's like, because I don't feel like it, I'm tired and, I'm sore and stuff like this. And, from a male perspective, like, oh, but if you just get out, and like, sometimes I'll probably wreck in her head, but I think, what I kind of found was just kind of trying to, like, not being pushy with her or anything like that, but just trying to kind of motivate her to kind of go, okay, well, like, let's have a target here. Maybe there's something we could do together. And we're already talking about next year to do the Great North Run over in Newcastle, because that's where she's from. So again, giving her a bit of a target and supporting her on that. But I think it comes down to the practicalities of it as well. And, like, I've always had a routine. That's like, when I look back on my sport, it was all routine based, and that works for me. So I think at home, and I don't understand, like, it's like a military home. We're doing this and you're doing this and all the rest of it. But it's very much like, okay, well, like, what day suits you, or what class or what day does it suit to kind of go out for a run or whatever it is, and just try and kind of stick to that. So I know, well, on a Monday, I'm making dinner. That's my responsibility. I look after dinner. I look after the kids. You get out for an hour. And then maybe Tuesday it's roles reversed. And like, that's something that you just kind of try, because, I don't want to be the one who's always going out and doing my thing, and then she's never getting kind of her thing done. And it's just that balance, I think. And like, it comes back to the, like, simply just kind of talking and going, like, well, kind of what suits you, and when does that fit in? And like, if someone comes, because my work is a little bit all over the place. I don't work kind of a 9 to 5. It's very kind of ad hoc at times. So, if I get asked to do things in the evening, like, I have to think of her and go, well, no, that's when she's out, and that's important to her. That's a non-negotiable, because that's the way I'd look at it for me. So I need to kind of think about her as well. So I think kind of, when I was competing, I was P1. I was priority one. Everything was about me. And I think when you transition away from that, and you have a family and you have kids and you have a wife, you kind of realize, well, maybe me has to kind of drop down a little bit, because there's other people that are as, if not important, and kind of just factoring that in.
And I'd say it's plenty busy at home with the kids anyway. I know there's a bit of racing going on in the garden over the summer.
Yeah, look, the kids are great. Oscar is 6, Olivia is 4, and then we've little Louis, who's a year and a half. And again, with me, I just try and keep them active, and we both do, and we both try and get them out. And we're lucky where we live. There's plenty of green spaces around, and we have the mountains on our doorstep in Marley Park. And we're fortunate to be in an area where we have those kind of local amenities, and we just try and use them. But I think with kids it's like, they love when their parents get involved. I think they love when adults kind of just get involved with them and play games and run around and stuff like that, and have little races. And that's what we do. I'm laughing because the last thing we did was play a game of dodgeball with the kids out in the back garden. And like, it's just a bit of crack and a bit of fun. And I think that's the thing that kids really, really enjoy. It's that fun element. And when they see their parents or adults getting involved with them, it's fun and engaging. And like, that's for me, that's the basis of all sport, is if they have a smile on their face, well, the chances are they want to do it again. They want to do it again. So we both, we try our best. Like, we're not saying that we're a gold standard, but I just think that kind of fresh air, and particularly now the evenings are a little bit kind of closing in, so you try and make the most of it. And I also think, like, with kids, when they see their parents participating in sports, like my earliest memory, I virtually like grew up on the side of a basketball court. My mum played a lot of basketball, and I have those vivid memories in my head of my mum playing basketball, and my dad played a bit of GAA, and I can remember going down and watching him play. And like, I think, when people say my earliest memories of sport are my parents playing, and maybe that's something that was in my head in terms of getting involved in sport myself. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely seen some of the videos with Oscar and Olivia racing, and they both look like they're smiling. And I know obviously Olivia's a bit smaller, but she looks like she wants to keep competing and keep running. So it's all good fun.
Yeah, she's like, she could be the runner, and I can't wait for the day she beats Oscar, like, because he won't take that very well. But
they'd be looking to beat you as well,
like, that's not too far away. I'm not as quick as I was. I'm beginning to slow up, but no, they're great kids. And like I said, it's like, it's just getting them out and getting them active, and just trying to kind of, build your kind of day and weekends around that. And then, like, for me as a parent, I suppose I don't feel as guilty then in the evening time if they're watching TV or in the afternoon, because they've been out and they've had a bit of kind of outside kind of time as well.
We've obviously had an unbelievable year of sport so far. Talk to us a little bit about the athletics. We've had some fantastic results from Ciara Mageean. Rashida Adeleke is flying as well. Sarah Lavin's running very well as well. So talk to us a little bit about that and some of the results that have stood out to you.
Yeah, God, like it's been an amazing year. Even going back to say the World Indoors back in March in Belgrade, Sarah Lavin made the final there. And it was always a bit of a strange year because you had World Indoors, then you had World Championships, and then you had Commonwealths in there, and then you had European. So, you know, from an athletic year, it was quite packed. And it's something from both an athlete and a coach perspective is like, how do you plan for this? How do you peak at the right time? How do you periodize your year? What do you target? So it was always a bit of a conundrum. And also kind of from the sidelines watching, okay, well, what shape are the athletes going to be come August in Munich? And you know, to be fair, the flip side of that is there's huge opportunity. And that's something that the sport probably doesn't get an awful lot of, because you might have one or two big champs a year, whereas this year there was arguably 4. So kind of, you know, for me, I was kind of looking at the summer going, okay, well, what's it going to be like? Because I knew we were going to cover Munich. And obviously you're looking at, when you're covering athletics, as you well know, you look at the start list and you look at the form and you go, oh, this could be really, really good. And we've been here so many times. I've been involved in teams where you kind of go, yes, like this could be a great week. And then it just falls flat on its face. And like, I put my hands up. I've been part of that as well. I've bombed at championships and all the rest of it. But there was something a little bit different. And even, I think when you looked at, like, you know, Israel Olatundi in the men's 100 meters, who went out and kind of, I suppose, set the stall, if you like it. There was headlines and PBs, and then you had Rashida coming out, and, you know, everything that she did over in the World Champs, you're kind of going, wow, like this girl is an absolute superstar. And like by Thursday, you're kind of pinching yourself going, this is unbelievable. Like, look at all the times. And you mentioned Sarah Lavin. She didn't kind of kick off her Europeans till the last weekend, if you like. You had Ciara Mageean in there as well. And, you know, you're kind of going is this actually happening? Are we having one of these championships where not only, and people might look at kind of medals. Yes, we got 2 medals, which might sound not a whole lot, but it's the performances, it's the PBs, it's the national records, it's Louise Shanahan in the women's 800 meters, like phenomenal, making a final. Like it's just, those are the stories, those are the things that you take away that inspire the next generation. And I'm just absolutely delighted that the sport got the headlines that it deserves, because generally it's kind of, it's packed into a busy summer. August is usually heavily GAA related. And it was just nice that we had like primetime TV. There was great coverage and people kind of just got stuck into it at home. There was headlines. And when you're following the likes of like Rashida at the age of 19 going out and doing what she was doing, that the relay team for the women's 4x4 making the final, again, that strength in depth and kind of, you know, bringing more people into the frame with 2 years to go to Paris. But then Ciara Mageean, you know, like just the way she's approached this season has just been absolutely 100% spot on. Even her tactics as she was racing, you could see that in the Commonwealths, you know, how tactically she were, that maturity, that confidence, it just oozed. And, you know, she was getting close to someone like Laura Muir and then coming into the Europeans and almost attacking Muir down the back straight. Like it's fantastic to see. And like, she got that medal. And I interviewed her post-race, but I also interviewed her the following day. We had a sit down with her, and I was like, hey, what's left of the season? Are you going to continue racing? And she was like, yeah, because I've got a time in me. I've got a time in me. And, you know, then goes to Brussels and smashes a PB national record and beats a world-class field, and then finishes it off in the Diamond League final. You know, it's like the headlines just kept going. And I think, like, realistically, yes, there's a step up for a lot of our athletes now from Europeans up to Worlds, but what an opportunity, you know, particularly Worlds next year. You got European indoors, you got World Champs in Budapest, and then you're into Paris. Like, so a lot of the athletes have put themselves in like the perfect place in terms of qualification and times, etc., in the lead up to Paris. So overall, look, it was a fantastic week. It was such a privileged position to be in, to stick the microphone in people's face literally seconds after they finish, you know. But it was really good. And I think off the back of Tokyo as well, it couldn't come at a better time in terms of performances. And because Tokyo was a little bit, you know, there's probably a little, like, and even from a funding perspective and a kind of exposure perspective, it wasn't great after Tokyo. So again, it's the right time, particularly where we are in that cycle towards the Olympics.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems like everybody's making their mark and that they're stepping on from Tokyo. And as you said, it's the PBs and it's getting into finals and it's that championship race experience as well that people are, putting themselves in contention. So it's for people that are following athletics intently, they'll know the story. But for anybody that doesn't, like there is really something special happening at the moment. Kira certainly impressed, going on from European Championships to all the Diamond League competitions. So it's been great to see her hard work paying off, because it's something she's been working on for quite some time. And that national record, the delight.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, you look at Kira's kind of journey over the last number of years, and even going back, arguably 10 years when she was a really talented junior. And that's something that we do in sport. We're very quick to label the next generation, which puts an awful lot of pressure on them to live up to expectation. And I think, Kira struggled with that, and she's been open about that. That transition to senior and even under 23 was really tough. And, there was kind of coaching changes in there. And then obviously she was sick for a little bit. And then she came out in Doha, ran 4 minutes flat, made a world final. And you kind of think, oh, she's going to push on from this. She moved to Manchester, it's all working. And then you got stuck with COVID. And, I think that did kind of hold her back a little bit. And then the Olympics, you target the Olympic Games. So I think this year was probably the first year that we've kind of seen everything, the fruits of her labor over the last number of years, and all the changes and everything that she did to better herself really come to the fore. And look, in the world of athletics, the stars have to align, and I think when you look at kind of her racing and how she's planned her season, it was very much championship based for the early part. She didn't actually race early part of the season. She was very much focused on the Commonwealths and then obviously Munich. But we can look at those times, but it's a completely different race. When you're racing in championship compared to Diamond Leagues and stuff like that, it's a world apart. And that's where I kind of took the confidence. I was like, no, there's something here. She's really astute. She's really measured in her championship racing. And then in the Diamond League, when you have a pacer, it's going to go out fast. She was in the shape, and I'm delighted for her, because you can be in the best shape ever, and sometimes you just don't, the races just don't kind of align themselves. You don't get that time that you deserve. And she was just it's one of these moments in athletics when you wake up the next day and you go, wow, was that a dream? No, that actually happened. And I always think in my career, there was I had days like that where things just really went well. But the sweetest thing is waking up the next day and going, it actually happened. Yes, it actually happened. And I think confidence-wise for her going forward as well, there's no reason why and this is it, from a media perspective, here I am labeling her, but there's no reason she can't be up there with some of the best athletes in the world. You know, the likes of Faith Kipyegon, she's beaten Muir now a few times. All these people now that maybe she probably put on a pedestal, she's now up there with them and beating them.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking as well, looking at the confidence, as she came through the season, and to be, a little bit behind Muir in Commonwealth, then to sit her on her in Europeans, then to beat her, she'll certainly take that confidence going into next season. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to watching Kira and obviously some of the others as we head into next year. Talk to us a bit about the impact that these results, these athletes, these role models can have on other people, and kind of tying back into the European Week of Sport, and how it can encourage people to get out and to try something new or get back to something that they were involved in before.
Yeah, look, 100%. I think what's great about what happened in Munich is that, it's the first time I've come back from covering the major championships, and people on the street, local people around where I live, are going, isn't it great? God, they're great. They're brilliant. And that says an awful lot, because, generally we talk about the big sports in Ireland, and, you have to actually go and get a medal in a smaller sport for it to be recognized and get people speaking. And it's great where people are talking about not only the Kiras and the people like Mark's getting medals, but it's the likes of Rashida, Louise, Sarah Lavin, all these people that are now becoming household names. And look, I'm probably slightly biased. I think athletics is a fantastic sport. I think, there's so much variety.
What a surprise.
Yeah, there you go. I'm boring but I just think look, I think all kids should do athletics. I just think it's the basis for so many sports, any kind of field-based sports. If you can run, if you can throw, if you can jump, I think it just all adds to your long-term development. And, that's something that I'd love to think is inspiring people around the country, particularly kids, particularly, young boys, young girls, that, I can try this. I can just go to my local running club and give it a go. And that's all we kind of want. And I think when you look at, know, even the likes of Rashida and Israel, like, you know, I suppose you could look at it from a new generation coming through. And I think like Munich really showed the talent that we have in Ireland, and particularly, you know, with say the kids coming through with African heritage, Nigerian heritage, Ghanaian heritage, like how a community can really help them, you know, empower themselves and kind of, you know, just realize their own potential. And that's what it's all about. And like every sport needs heroes. Every sport needs heroes. And I think we're at a moment in athletics with the coverage that we need to strike while the iron's hot. You know, whether that's a funding, whether that's sponsorship, whether that's like really push it out when it's at the forefront of people's minds. Because the trouble is with athletics, it kind of goes away for the next couple of months and nobody kind of sees anything or hears about it, and then it crops up. It's not a mainstream media sport. It's not in the media week in, week out. So I think, you know, we all kind of have a responsibility to keep that at the forefront of people's minds and really showcase what our athletes, but even our young athletes coming through, what they're all about and what they do, because it is inspirational. And you kind of saw that maybe from some of the interviews post-race, that we have great characters in there. They're articulate, they're smart, they're confident, they're hardworking. They're all the things that you'd expect from sports people, but sometimes they don't get the opportunity to really kind of showcase that. And I think Munich kind of really helped that. And that's what I think the European Week of Sport is kind of all about. It's showcasing what sports are out there, because sometimes you don't know what's on your doorstep. And, you know, I'd always say I can guarantee there's an athletics club where there's people that are running, jumping, throwing, walking, you know, in your community. And it's just kind of, if we can get kids involved in that, have a bit of crack, a bit of fun, you know, you never know what you might find.
Yeah, no, there's certainly brilliant role models in athletics at the moment and across a lot of the sports. And in terms of the benefits of sport, like if there's people listening to this and they're kind of considering like, oh, maybe I'm a bit interested, like there's obviously physical benefits, mental health benefits. You know, we're talking about the social aspect. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm a bit advocate for, you know, exercise for kind of mental health. Obviously all the research is there in terms of the physical well-being that comes from just being active, getting the body moving. And like, that's the thing. I'm not telling people you have to go out and like slog yourself for like 400 meters
not
or
do
5K.
a marathon like you know.
No, well, Jesus, yeah.
It's
like,
coming down the tracks, I hear.
It's coming on. Oh, yeah. I'm doing Dublin Marathon. Yeah, God. I've actually got the half marathon tomorrow, or imminently, should I say. So yeah, that's the first hurdle.
So we're telling people is they can go and they can do a nice walk, or it can be a 2K or a 5K or whatever. It doesn't have to be the super long distances.
100%. And that's the thing. You know, obviously I'd get questions about getting into running and stuff like that. And people would say, oh, look, you know, I really struggle doing a 5K. I'd be kind of blunt and go, well, maybe you're running too far. You don't have to run 5K. Yeah. You know, start small and build, maybe run and walk, maybe just even getting out of the house for a little bit, get away from the noise of life sometimes. Doing it with someone, you get the social benefits, you have a laugh, a bit of crack, you know, I'll do that again. I enjoyed that. And that's kind of like from the physical standpoint, but the mental standpoint, again, it's kind of maybe time with yourself. And that's something that I quite enjoy. And I know it's something that Charlotte quite enjoys as well. You know, we're busy at home, so getting away from the noise, maybe listen to a podcast or a bit of music, it can be very empowering as well. You feel good about yourself. And again, research the endorphins and all the chemical reactions that go on the brain when we exercise, it makes us feel good about ourselves. And I think that's really, really important, particularly dealing with all the changes and even the stress of life, you know, like going into winter. You look at the news, energy crisis, cost of living crisis, all these things can really kind of weigh us down at times. Yeah, come at you. And I think sometimes like we need to, it's an element of self-care. Like that's what it really is. And look, if you enjoy it, yes, you can give yourself a big target like a marathon or a 5K or a 10K, but they all come down the line. You know, the main thing is just getting out and be active. And I think the social aspect as well is hugely important. And particularly with kids as well, it can be, you know, you can have kids that maybe could be a little bit shy in class, or maybe, you know, in school, it's all brand new, but yet they come into their own when they're out and they're playing sport. And that's the beauty of it. It can give people just so much confidence and belief within themselves, and you make great friends. And like, you know, like I'm probably again biased in this, but like sport has given me so many opportunities. I've managed to travel the world. I've met my wife through it. You know, I've got friends for life. And it's all coming back from sport. And it's something like that, like I retired from athletics once, and then I did a comeback. I'm not going to retire again. You know, I'll be running for the rest of my life because it's in my DNA and it's part of me, and it makes me feel good. And if I can offload that a little bit onto my kids to see the benefits of it, well, that's what it's all about. But, you know, overall, I think, you know, if people are listening, you know, yeah, you know what, the hardest part is getting going. The hardest part is probably getting off the couch and getting out. And I always say, if you can put the trainers on, you're halfway there, you know, because then it's, sure, I might as well go, you know, and you don't have to kill yourself.
1 foot outside the door and
1 foot, absolutely 1 foot outside the door. And it can just be very, very rewarding and make you feel good about yourself. And that's the kind of the key aspect of it all.
Yeah, no, look, that's some really good advice there. And, you know, I know we're obviously talking a good bit about running and that's your background. But as we said, there's loads of different sports for people to try out. So definitely head on to the websites that we mentioned earlier to check that out. Now, I do have one more question. For those that don't know, you are obviously on Hell Week, and there's a lot of people wondering what you asked the TS when he told you to go to sleep. So are you going to tell us?
The problem is, right, when that happened, my phone lit up and everyone's like, what are we going to ask? What are we going to ask? And then I was like, well, what was it? Let's have a quiz here. And the questions like were coming back were hilarious. Like, what time's breakfast? Do I get eggs with breakfast? I'm really sorry. It wasn't as exciting as anything like that. But what was actually happening was I was made orderly sergeant on day one, which meant that like people were coming to me going, can we do this? Or we need this, or we need that. So I can't leave that dorm and go and find a DS to go, hey, how's it going? We're just looking. It just, no, that does not happen. So that was the only time I felt I could ask him what we needed. And obviously he shot me down, but all I was looking for was a brush and some black sacks. That was it. I know, how boring.
I'm sure all the guesses that you got in were fairly entertaining anyways. And I imagine probably nobody got it right.
Nobody got it right. Even my wife put one in. It was like to Ray Goggins, the DS. Are you single? So you can see where her allegiance was going. But no, look, Hell Week. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Just so tough and so relentless. And I think sometimes you look at TV and you kind of think, oh, like it was probably cut, you know, you guys go out there and have your cappuccino and get your dinner. There was none of that, like literally none of that. It was very, very difficult, hard, no sleep, no food, all that sort of stuff. You're wet, you're cold, but probably one of the best things I've done, you know, because you're challenged. And I think that's it. You put yourself outside of a comfort zone. And look, to be fair, everyone was doing it for their own personal reasons. There's definitely easier ways of getting your face on TV than putting yourself into Hell Week. But no, it was a great experience and a great group of people to do it with. And if I can mention, like everyone's doing it for their own charity as well. And mine is the Friends of the Coombe. That's my charity. So again, it's a purpose to raise some vital funds for the people in need, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, look, you're certainly bringing entertainment to the television anyway. So look, people can find that on RTE as well, isn't it?
Yeah, RTE. So I survived episode number 1, and then episode number 2 was on this week or last week. So I survived that, and then episode number 3 is all I'll say is strap yourself in for this one.
All right. Well, look, we've been through a lot today, David. Thanks a million for taking the time to chat to us. And look, we'll inform everybody a bit more about European Week of Sport. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Her Sport Show. A quick reminder that you can catch up with this episode and every episode on the Her Sport YouTube channel, all podcast apps, and across our social media channels. Keep involved in the conversation, and we'll see you again next week.
The Her Sport Show, live every Wednesday on YouTube and every podcast app.